but never as its words came now from the lips of Marie Anne Boulain. Faintly as tolls the evening chime, our voices keep tune and our oars keep time. Soon as the woods on shore look dim, we'll sing at St. Anne's our parting hymn. Row, brothers, row, the stream runs fast, the rapids are near and the daylight's past. She paused, and David, staring down at her shining head, did not speak. Her fingers trembled over the keys, he could see dimly the shadow of her long lashes, and the spirit-like scent of crushed violets rose to him from the soft lace about her throat and her hair. "It is your music," he whispered. "I have never heard the boat song like that." He tried to drag his eyes from her face and hair, sensing that he was a near criminal, fighting a mighty impulse. The notes under her fingers changed, and again, by chance or design, she was stabbing at him, bringing him face to face with the weakness of his flesh, the iniquity of his desire to reach out his arms and crumple her in them. Yet she did not look up, she did not see him as she began to sing Ave Maria. Ave Maria, hear me cry, O guide my path where no harm is nigh. As she went on, he knew she had forgotten to think of him. With the reverence of a prayer the holy words came from her lips, slowly, softly, trembling with a pathos and sweetness that told David they came not alone from the lips, but from the very soul of St. Pierre's wife. And then, O Mother, hear me where thou art, and guide my aching heart, my aching heart. The last words drifted away into a whisper, and David was glad that he was not looking into the face of St. Pierre's wife, for there must have been something there now which it would have been sacrilege for him to stare at, as he was staring at her hair. No sound of opening door had come from behind them. Yet St. Pierre had opened it and stood there, watching them with a curious humor in eyes that seemed still to hold a glitter of the fire that had leaped from the half-breed's flaming birch logs. His voice was a shock to Carrigan. "Peste, but you are a gloomy pair," he boomed. "Why no light over there in the corner, and why sing that death song to chase away the devil when there is no devil near?" Guilt was in David's heart, but there was no sting of venom in St. Pierre's words, and he was laughing at them now, as though what he saw were a pretty joke and amused him. "Late hours and shady bowers. I say it should be a love song or something livelier," he cried, closing the door behind him and coming toward them. "Why not 'Enroulant ma boule,' my sweet Jeanne? You know that is my favorite." He suddenly interrupted himself, and his voice rolled out in a wild chant that rocked the cabin. "The wind is fresh, the wind is free, En roulant, ma boule. The wind is fresh, my love waits me, Roulis, roulant, ma boule roulant. Behind our house a spring you see, In it 3 ducks swim merrily, And hunting the prince's son went he, With a silver gun right fair to see." David was conscious that St. Pierre's wife had risen to her feet, and now she came out of shadow into light, and he was amazed to see that she was laughing back at St. Pierre, and that her 2 forefingers were thrust in her ears to keep out the bellow of her husband's voice. She was not at all discomfited by his unexpected appearance, but rather seemed to join in the humor of the thing with St. Pierre, though he fancied he could see something in her face that was forced and uneasy. He believed that under the surface of her composure she was suffering a distress which she did not reveal. St. Pierre advanced and carelessly patted her shoulder with one of his big hands, while he spoke to David. "Has she not the sweetest voice in the world, monsieur? Did you ever hear a sweeter or as sweet? I say it is enough to get down into the soul of a man, unless he is already half dead. That voice!" He caught Marie Anne's eyes. Her cheeks were flaming. Her look, for an instant, flashed lightning as she halted him. "Ma foi, I speak it from the heart," he persisted, with a shrug of his shoulders. "Am I not right, M'sieu Carrigan? Did you ever hear a sweeter voice?" "It is wonderful," agreed David, wondering if he was hazarding too much. "Good! It fills me with happiness to know I am right. And now, cherie, good night. I must return to the raft." A shadow of vexation crossed Marie Anne's face. "You seem in great haste." "Plagues and pests! You are right, pretty voice. I am most anxious to get back to my troubles there, and you—" "Will also bid M'sieu Carrigan good night," she quickly interrupted him. "You will at least see me to my room, St. Pierre, and safely put away for the night." She held out her hand to David. There was not a tremor in it as it lay for an instant soft and warm in his own. She made no effort to withdraw it quickly, nor did her eyes hide their softness as they looked into his own. Mutely David stood as they went out. He heard St. Pierre's loud voice rumbling about the darkness of the night. He heard them pass along the side of the bateau forward, and half a minute later he knew that St. Pierre was getting into his canoe. The dip of a paddle came to him. For a space there was silence, and then, from far out in the black shadow of the river, rolled back the great voice of St. Pierre Boulain, singing the wild river chant, En roulant ma boule. At the open window he listened. It seemed to him that from far over the river, where the giant raft lay, there came a faint answer to the words of the song. End of chapter 18. Recording by Roger Moline.